just 3 dimensions away from Jigsaw appearing in Aquaman. I'm your host, 3D Jake, and today we're looking at Aquaman, released in 2018. Aquaman is a superhero film on an origin story directed by James Wan and written by David Leslie Johnson, Will Bell, and James Wan himself, as well as Jeff Johns. The movie is essentially stars Jason Momoa, William Dafoe, Amber Heard, Patrick Wilson, Yahya Abdul, and Nicole Kidman. The movie is basically an origin story of Arthur Curry and his redemption to becoming Aquaman. Basically, it's like origin story, if you will. And I will say, when this movie came out, when it first was even mentioned, I was like, who cares about Aquaman? But then after seeing him in just seeing who they cast, and then of course seeing like him in Justice League, I actually got excited for him. And so I was like, you know what? I'll watch it. And then you see in that first trailer, like obviously the first image was him in a fish tank looking thing, but it looked like just a fake image. And you're just like, really? And that seems like the image they kept using. People are like, this just looks like they took like a Jason Momoa, photoshopped him into a National Geographic magazine. And then of course once you see the official the magazine cover that came out on Comic-Con weekend, that looked 10 times better than the actual poster. And I just remember seeing the first trailer at Conan O'Brien at Comic-Con. They showed the first trailer and it was just so beautiful, well done. It looked just so fun. It looked like something that we hadn't seen before. And so I was so excited because the cinematography looked great, the logos looked great, everything about it. So come to December that year, I was literally like, oh my god, I can't wait, because I was like kind of wondering, are they even going to put the movie out? Because the trailer was coming out in July, and I'm like, the movie comes out in December. And so I was really worried, but then when it come July, I was like, wasn't worried about it after that. And so when December hit, and I was like, oh my god, because I saw, I was worried the movie wouldn't do well because Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was coming out, Bumblebee was coming out, and this movie was the most successful out of all three of them. I mean, seriously, made $1 billion. I mean, I was sitting there in the theater. I went and got to see it a week early too, which is really great because on Fox, basically what happened was my local station of Fox was doing a giveaway. If you watch The Big Bang Theory, you enter code words. Or no, it wasn't that. It wasn't even that. It was if you watch The Crisis on Elseworlds, the DC Elseworld, which was a crossover between Arrow and The Flash, and where Arrow is over, crossing over with the Flash, where the Green Arrow is the Flash and the Flash is the Green Arrow. And so that was they having this big thing and saying Aquaman, and don't miss Aquaman coming out in theaters. And there's code words like trident, water, and stuff like that. And so I entered those words thinking nothing was going to happen. And then I won a free ticket to see it. So I had to go. I went and literally picked up, the tickets. And I was so excited to have my Aquaman tickets. And then I got to see it. My uncle took me to see it. And we literally went to the theater. It was Monday night. It was a Monday night. The movie came out Friday. So we were so excited. We sat down in the theater. Then they did drawings. And I won an Orville jacket. Literally an Orville jacket from the show Orville. I still have that jacket in my closet. I mean, I won that jacket. My uncle got an ice cream. But people were getting Flash posters and all this and stuff from the TV show. And so I was like, wow. And I got a jacket. And I'm glad I got that jacket because I still to this day have it. And even though it wasn't in my size, I still have the jacket. I'm like, this is a rare jacket to have. And so got this Orville jacket. And then not only that, I got to enjoy this film. And so I sat that movie, and it made my experience so much better. I mean, obviously, I was hoping the movie would be good. And while the movie wasn't the best movie I ever saw, it wasn't like The Dark Knight, it was just oh, this movie is okay. So watching this movie, I was like, I did not hate this movie, but I did not love it. I will say, there are scenes in this movie that I really do appreciate. I love the action sequences underwater, and I love, the cinematography and the scores. And I love Jason Momoa's Aquaman. He's fun. I just do think that the movie has a narrative problem where it's okay, the villain of the movie is Ocean Master, okay? Orm, Aquaman's brother. And so basically, and then Black Manta, who's also in the movie, is a villain. And so basically it's rather than make him the main villain, they're like, oh, we're just going to make him the sidekick of the main villain, that he wants to kill the hero. And so I'm like, wouldn't it work better if Black Manta was the main villain and they set Ocean Master up for the sequel? Or if Black Manta is just, rather than set him up for this villain arc? Because if you look at it from narrative perspective, Black Manta should be the main villain. But instead, why don't you just get rid of his stuff, put him only as a side character, like just set him up for later rather than just. And it kind of made me like, well, why won't they just do this and that? That was my issue with the movie. Also, I do think that everyone's pretty great in the movie. I think Tamar Morrison is great as Aquaman's dad. I also think Arthur, as Aquaman, Jason is fantastic. I think he's great, and I like seeing him at the end in the Aquaman outfit. Because I remember people used to laugh and make fun of Aquaman. To see him walk out of the water with that trident, and I'm like, this is so cool. Like, I mean, that was in all the posters and everything. And I just remember having like a little, like, I have a fridge magnet with that image on it, and I'm just like, oh, that's so cool. I mean, because this was a cool film. Like, it wasn't like something I would go see 10 times, but I just remember watching it going, this is cool. Especially at the end, like there's a whole fight scene with like him and his brother where he gets beat up by his brother and they have to escape, and then they go like on. It kind of feels like they're like romancing in the stone, where they're just going on an adventure, like Indiana Jones style in a way. And then of course after they go on their adventure, then of course the Black Manta shows up to go after them. It almost feels like Black Manta would work better as just a henchman to Orm. Like in a way he is just a mercenary for hire, but I kind of feel like if he was just like in Atlanta, it would make work better in a way. But that's my issue with that, because it feels like they gave Black Manta the kind of story they gave Sabretooth in the first Bryan Singer X-Men movie, where he's just basically a subordinate to the villain. And so like Patrick Wilson, I do feel like I like his villain, but I feel like they could have done more with his villain in this movie, because it feels like he's just angry because my mother had a bastard and you're that bastard. And so that kind of was like, okay, I can understand why, but at the same time, they're trying to go like the Loki route of the story, like a reverse Thor in a way. But it feels like Marvel did it way better. In this one, they're trying to just make him Loki-rise him. And at the same time, I could see Patrick Wilson's such a fantastic actor. I think he did a great job in this movie. But I just don't feel like the character was all the way finished there. But I do like that, that there's a great fight scene at the end between them two on the back of a ship. I thought that was great, and I like there was a big war at the end in Atlantis. I thought that was pretty cool, and how they got one of my favorites, Desmond House, as like he's a fish, and then they just kill him and take over his kingdom and everything. I thought that was great how he just insults him, and he's like, we're gonna take your kingdom over. And he says, if not, and if your wife disagrees with them, we'll just kill them too, and he'll be an open rebellion against us, and it's like it's simple and easy, and I'm just like, wow. And Dolph Lundgren, you almost think like, because you have Black Manta, why is Dolph Lundgren there? It feels like he's a secondary subordinate to, Orm, but at the same time, he's not really the villain. He's just like there, like kind of like I'm a general following orders, and it's just like I feel like if you have him and you have Black Manta, then why do you need him? Other than Mira has a father. That's some narrative issues also I hate. I do like the awkward going on the journey of Mira, and I feel like the connection between them two is great. And I think that, Amber Heard, regardless of how you feel about her as an actress, I think she's great in this movie. I also think that, that she really, this is a good character that I thought really she did really well. And I thought I honestly thought she did a good job in this movie. Like, it looks fantastic. She was great in this movie, especially at the end. Especially when they, embrace for the kiss, and also, that shot in the background. Like, that is a great scene. It should be on the cover of a Blu-ray or something with them two kissing, and there's, fire explosions going behind them. That's a pretty cool kiss scene. And I also like that, how he's fighting, Aquaman's fighting his brother in the Ring of Fire, which I'm like, I would have just wished there was a Johnny Cash song playing in the Ring of Fire. That would have been so funny, because, I mean, there's literally an octopus playing the drums. I do also like that, there was also, I like that, that there's, the trenches, this creature, almost monstrous scene, and that's because James Wan come from horror. And I also, three of my favorite scenes in this movie are between, Black Manta at the beginning doing his origins. I like that, even though I don't feel like it fit with the movie. And I also like Black Manta just showing up to kill Aquaman in that scene where they're in Italy or somewhere. And I thought it was funny when she bit the roses and everything. And she's like, once he fights the roses too. And then of course Black Manta shows up. It's just chasing after him and everything. And she's like, boom, boom, shooting laser. And I also like when Black Manta, they give him the weapon, he rigs it into his suit that he wears. And I have that action figure. I think that action figure was so cool. And I think that's really great. And I actually like that how and then all the men are going after Mira. And then, of course, one of them, she knocks his helmet and he sticks his head into it and goes, ah. Those scenes like that, I really like it. And those, I mean, there's a lot of great backstory, a lot of heart in this movie. And it also has a great pop cameo from Julia Andrews, who turned down the cameo to Mary Poppins to cameo in this movie, which I'm like, I really like that. I like this movie's a fun movie. It has a lot of action, heart. Although yes, I've said my issues with it, I do think this is a fantastic movie to watch. It's a fun movie, especially if you have a pool party and you can play this. It's a fun movie, and I just can't wait to see the sequel because this movie lives up to the hype, I believe, and I really like this movie. If I had to give this movie a grade, I would give it an A. Thank you so much.
We're here.
What are you doing? Wait.
You have a parachute.
Redheads, you gotta love them.